Hello, you bearded bastards, and welcome back once again to Kruggsmash, Honeystoker, a small, quaint fortress in the barricaded murk, a terribly swampy area. Now then, a quick rundown of the place. We've been going for 4 years now, and you may remember that at this point we do have a few upset dwarves in the fortress. And our current goal is to try to get them a little happier, through various means. We've been allowing certain dwarves to craft certain objects, so that they're satisfied with their work. We've made sure that they all have very well-appointed bedrooms, and we also have a very well-appointed meeting hall down here, as well as an ample stockpile of food and drinks, and we even have some specific temples built to each of the Dwarven deities. Well, a couple anyways. In fact, that's going to be one of our first projects, is to finish building some of these temples. We have 6 gods that I'd like represented here, as well as a couple others who aren't very well respected, for various reasons. We'll get into that later. But for now, we're just going to work on these 6 temples, and I don't imagine that'll take very long to complete. Oh, hey now, looks like our brewer is taken by a fey mood, which means we have another artifact on the way. That's very exciting. Well, good luck to you, Kivish. In the meantime, as I was about to say, I think while our temples are getting completed, we'll start work on a barracks as well. I didn't originally want a military here, and I still really don't want a focused military, but a lot of the dwarves seem to want to practice a martial skill. Get some exercise, stretch their muscles a bit. Who could blame them? And it would probably be for the best if they did have some skill too. So we're going to get started on that. It's not going to be a big barracks, but it'll be enough. And I think I'll throw it up over here, just on the second tier over on the side. Maybe just like that. Strangely enough, this civilization of dwarves do not believe in any gods of war. And that's one of the main reasons we're not going to be focusing too heavily on a military. Oh, hold up here. It looks like a goblin snatcher was just spotted up on the surface. You sneaky bastard. The child snatchers of the Torment of Witches are famed for their craft. Many Dwarven, Elven, and human children have been added to the goblin civilization this way. Well, it looks like they were spotted by one of our wood burners, and I'm sure they'll just run off. I'm hoping that's the case anyways. Let's follow the goblin and see what happens. They are running. Ugh, and it looks like the brewer just created her artifact. Well, I suppose we can take a quick look at it, right? Kivish Cybrekdalzat, the brewer, has created Telengaved, a siltstone throne. She claims it as an heirloom in the name of the family ancestor Kib Foldedfenced. Very interesting, we could use a nice throne in the fortress. Let's have a look. Its name means coastal clobbered. Very strange. And like our last artifact, it is not worth very much. This is a siltstone throne. All craft dwarfship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with rectangular siltstone cabochons and decorated with alpaca wool. This object menaces with spikes of siltstone and lignite. On the item is an image of clouds in brown jasper. Very cool, nice and simple, which is something I really like. It's understated, and I think it'll make a fine addition to our fortress. Fantastic work, Kivish. Now then, back up here to the surface where we have the goblin snatcher. Let's follow and see what happens. Alright, looks like they're coming down into the fortress, which is terrible. We don't have a military or anything, so I'm not too sure what we're going to be doing at this point. Okay, well, I guess he's kind of panicked and is seemingly just running away. Alright, well, that's good. No, but he's coming back in. What the hell you doing, you bastard? Alright, dwarves, stay away from this guy. Yeah, it looks like they're just running around in a panic currently. I think they're trying to get out of the fortress, but keep getting scared back in. Oh, you idiot. Well, not too sure what we could do about this. Oh no, okay, I thought they had run into a room and tried to grab a child, but it looks like they did not. Alright, you bastard, we're gonna have to do something about this. This is getting ridiculous. There you go, get the hell out. Go out. This is crazy. Okay, I don't really want to send the dwarves out to try to kill it. Okay, it looks like it found its way out, and it's heading away now. Running like a damn coward. That's right, get the hell out of here, you bastard. Okay, they're gone. And it looks like all of our children are safe, which is fantastic. That was kind of a close call. We would have definitely had to fight if it grabbed any of our children, so I'm glad it didn't come to that. Those snatchers can still be pretty dangerous for a bunch of unarmed dwarves. From here on out, we're gonna have to be sure to keep our eyes open. Vigilance, dwarves. Think of the children, won't you? Now then, having a look up here to our temples, the 2 new ones are coming right along. You can see this one on the left is a little bit bigger than the others, and that's because I wanted to do a little bit more with it. But we'll get to that when it's completed. And then over here, our barracks is coming along as well. Still have a little bit to do with it, but it's getting there. In the meantime, I've had some dwarves come down here and start smoothing our entryway, and I'm gonna have them continue that. Remember, I had said last episode I want to create a space where dwarves can go and just start engraving walls, and hopefully that'll end up decreasing stress a bit. But if it's going to help at all, they're going to have to be master engravers, and so this will be good for practice. There we are, keep at it, dwarves. Soon you'll be making some fine engravings. Very soon, hopefully, but I guess we'll see. And you know, seeing as how we're still kind of waiting on those rooms to be built, I'm trying to think of other ways to make the dwarves happy. And there is one tried and true method that I'd really like to implement here. That being mist from water. And I'm trying to think of the best way to do that. I originally wanted to put something up on the surface, but I can't. Not in any interesting fashion anyways, because we have so much going on underground here. But our meeting hall over here is nice and spacious, so I'm thinking of putting something in there. Sort of like a fountain, perhaps. Alright, and how's that? It's not going to make much sense right now, but you'll see what I'm going for shortly. Hopefully. Pretty excited, gotta say. Oh boy, this isn't good. Rith, our expedition leader, is stumbling around obliviously. He's been fairly stressed out lately, and I can't really blame him, but it looks like it's really starting to get to the dude. Ugh, that is not good. Stinger, our clothier, the miserable one, has been yelling at him almost non-stop. It's almost as if all of her time is spent tracking the guy down to yell at him. So yeah, that's bound to get to him eventually. Oh, I'm really hoping things don't start getting out of hand here. Although honestly, it's not looking great. In other good news, it looks like Maffel, our chief medical dwarf, has given birth to yet another baby, which is really something. She currently has 2 babies in her arms. Man, I'm really hoping we don't have any healthcare crises anytime soon, because she literally has her hands full. Oh, and she's heading over and yelling at Rith, too, who is now throwing a tantrum. Ugh, that is not good. This poor guy cannot handle the stress of being an expedition leader, I don't think. I feel bad for him. We're gonna have to do something about that. I'm sure the other dwarves can see how stressed out he is. Alright, I'm gonna tell you what. I think we're actually going to replace Rith as expedition leader. It's for the best. He can't handle the position, and we have to do something about it. I don't really want to do this. I mean, he is the one who led the dwarves here, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And, well, having a look here, it seems that Attir, one of our weaponsmiths, is a very good candidate. They have many skills that would be very good for the position. And currently, she doesn't have any stress at all. Just a little bored. And so it might be for the best that we take Attir as our expedition leader. Yeah, let's do that. Attir, you are the new expedition leader. Congratulations. Although we are still going to be keeping Rith as our sheriff. I'm sure the dwarves don't want to neuter the guy completely. Oh, and you know, I hadn't realized that Attir is actually our broker as well. Well, I'm sure she won't have any problems taking on both tasks. Hoping anyways. I guess we'll see. And now that that's all set, I think we're going to say that the dwarves just kind of held discussions and agreed amongst themselves to have Rith step down. We're not a big fortress, and everybody could see how stressed out he was, and I'm sure he saw where they were coming from and agreed that it was for the best. And then maybe Attir was kind of forced into the position. The dwarves thought she would be good for the job, and maybe she didn't have a choice really. Yeah, that's what we'll go with. And you know what? She seems to have a very good head on her shoulders. She personally finds the acquisition and use of power abhorrent, and would have all masters toppled. That is interesting. So she doesn't really want to be a leader. I think that'll work out for us, honestly. She also believes that those who sacrifice for others should be deeply respected. She also never becomes angry, is a friendly individual, and even has an active sense of humor, which is great. Although to temper that, she is completely oblivious to any conception of neatness and will just leave things strewn about without a care. So she's kinda sloppy, and refuses to expend any extra effort. Oh, and she doesn't stick with things if even minor difficulties arise. Okay, well, she's pretty good anyways. I think she's gonna do a great job. But as with everything, I suppose time will tell. Oh, and you know, I almost missed it, but the humans are here for trading. Very cool. This is their first visit to us, so we're going to have to make a good show, which I think we're going to be able to manage because we have made a bunch of weapons at this point, mostly silver warhammers and maces, and we even have a bunch of wax and stone crafts, and a few leftover wooden spikes as well. Yeah, you can see here we made a bunch of silver weapons, warhammers and maces mostly, just because silver tends to make a better blunt weapon than it does an edged weapon, and these are very valuable, which is great. But first of all, let's see if they have anything we're going to want. Alright, they have some aluminum, brass, gold. We'll take all these metal bars, and we'll take some of these gems as well, just for the heck of it. And some animals, sure, we'll pick those up. It can't hurt to have some extra meat and leather on hand, bones too. And we have some drinks here, of course. And we also have a variety of strange weapons here. Very interesting. I think we'll pick up a morning star, as well as this flail here. And let's see, all their clothing is far too large for the dwarves, so we'll skip that. but they do have some shields, made out of stronger metal than we have access to, so we'll pick up a couple of those. Oh, and they have a ton of cloth and leather. I'm gonna take as much of that as I can. Oh, and of course they have a large variety of meats as well. How exotic. Ooh, and some fish. Yeah, we're gonna grab as much as we can. Cheese too. Yeah, we'll take a bunch of that. Couldn't hurt. And to finish it off, we do have some books here too, and I'd like to grab a couple of them if possible. We'll take Animal Courtship in Theory, Unabridged Elves, why the hell not, and a book of poetry entitled Corridors. Could be interesting. And for trade, we're getting rid of a few of our silver maces, as well as all of our wax and stone crafts. Oh, and of course some wooden spikes as well. And that should just about do it.
Oh my, such well-crafted items. This will do very nicely. Thank you so much for your business. We shall return next year.
And they do seem pleased with the trading, which is great. But we want it to be better than that. We want them to leave ecstatic, so that next year they'll bring even more items. But you know, I guess this isn't bad. We should just really try to up production a bit. But this is fine, I suppose. Well, it was nice trading with you humans. I hope to see you again next year. Be well and travel safely. And now with that out of the way, I'd like to show off this little project I've got going on over here. The fountain thing, mist generator we'll call it, for the meeting hall. And you can see it right here. Now we still have a ways to go on that, but if we look up at the top of our wall, oop, pause the game, because it just was activated. Alright, anyways, you can see here I have this tunnel built into our wall. And down by the brook we have a screw pump, which is powered by a windmill up here, which was just installed. And so if we look down at our well, you can see water is now pouring in all over the place. And it's going to turn into quite a mess, I believe. But that's not a problem because we do have a lever down in the meeting hall, which is all linked up. We're just going to need somebody to pull that really quick though. Alright, unpausing. And there we go, we can see the water coming straight from the brook and just filling up our little living space here with a lot of water. Still pouring in, I believe, or at least spreading out. Oh, and there we go, somebody pulled the lever and it is now deactivated. Now I had done this just in case we ever have to fill up the well again. The well is not connected up to the brook, and we don't currently have a great way to drain it if it was, so I figured if it ever needs to be refilled, we could just pull the lever and get this thing activated, and just fill it up 2 shakes. We can see already that it produces a ton of water. It'll get the job done, I think. Now, we do have this water all over the place here, but that's not a big deal. That'll dry up soon. Oh damn it. It looks like Rith, our former expedition leader, punched a carpenter in the head a couple times. That is not good. We can't do that, Rith. He was replaced, but his stress does not seem to be decreasing at all. I mean, it's going to take a while, I'm sure, but we can't be doing that. I really don't want to have to start throwing dwarves out of here. I really don't. Just hoping it doesn't come down to that. Well, anyways, back to our constructions here. We're trying to get this mist generator done for the meeting hall, and we're going to need a lot of water in there in the first place. Originally, I was hoping to get dwarves with buckets to go up to the brook and bring water down, and we would gradually fill it that way. But that'll take a while, so now I'm thinking about how we can modify our well-filling device. I think we might be able to do it that way, and so I'm gonna get straight to work on that. I'm just really hoping we don't end up with a subaquatic meeting hall. That wouldn't be so great. Oh, damn, looks like Rith is throwing yet another tantrum. That is not good, man. Please don't cause any trouble. Come on, dude, you gotta take it easy. Well, it looks like he's heading to our new library, which I have not shown off yet. Let's have a quick look. Well, here you can see it. It's a small place with only 8 bookcases, but it should get the job done. I was hoping to have this room double as a temple to the god of writing, but unfortunately it looks like you can't layer up rooms like that. And so we're just going to put a temple to the god up here, and that will get the job done. And that'll mean we have 4 temples made out of 6, and so we're almost there. And over this way here you can see our new barracks. It's small and simple, but we had to get it done quickly. And now that we finally have a barracks, I'm going to make some squads. Well, you know, but I guess the first thing we should do is choose a militia commander. Kind of important, really. Well, let's see, having a look here, it doesn't look like anybody in the fortress has any relevant skills whatsoever. Besides Id Euristvath Sith, one of our mechanics, who is a novice leader. Well, you know what? Our new expedition leader was thrust into her position, so what the hell? Id, you're going to be our militia commander, for now at least. Good luck, buddy. Now as for squads, we're going to outfit our dwarves with metal armor and weapons. Nothing too special, and we're going to have 3 squads, just so all the dwarves in the fortress can get in on the action. I want everybody to have at least a little bit of training. It'll be good for them, I think. And I think we're just going to stick with the names that were randomly generated. The Sprayed Avalanches, which is of course a reference to the Great Eastern Mountains. These dwarves will fight like a spray of stone coming off the rocky slopes. Then we have the Scraped Boards, It's kind of an odd Dwarven reference right there. I have to assume it has to do with any time there's a wooden structure in the fortress, the boards have to be scraped periodically to get rid of any mold or fungus. Well, that's what these dwarves are going to do to their foes. Just scrape them away. And then we have the earthen bulbs, which of course relates to onions, garlic, which are rather strong and hearty vegetables, much like the dwarves in this squad. Let's just hope they don't smell as foul. Now the sprayed avalanches are already led by Id, and in this squad we're also going to put, well, pretty much a random assortment of dwarves, 8 of them, and I made sure not to put any 2 dwarves with the same labors enabled in the squad. Just so while the sprayed avalanches are training, we have another dwarf out in the fortress who can still do certain tasks. Same goes for the scraped boards, who are led by Beans, and the earthen bulbs as well, which only has 7 members, and are led by Stinger. 3 squads, 25 military dwarves. Fantastic. And now, we're going to set up a schedule for these dwarves, which I have very little experience with, but I don't think it'll be that hard to figure out really. Now let's see. So we have 3 squads and 12 months in the year. It's currently limestone. Well, first of all, we're going to go through and cancel all these training orders. Alright, and now we're going to set a new order for the sprayed avalanches, which will be to train, just like this, and we'll hit shift and enter when done. Okay, and so now they're set to training. Now I'll hit C to copy this, and we're going to have them train once every 3 months. And now we can just paste this order, right here, just like that. It will do the same for the scraped boards, just once every 3 months, but in the months after the sprayed avalanches. And we will do the same for the earthen bulbs, on the months after the scraped boards. Oh, and you know, I'm also going to hit U so that when they're inactive, they're going to wear civilian clothing. Very good. So now I believe we're good to go. No 2 squads will be training at the same exact time, so that plenty of work will still get done. Alright, now we'll go to the squad menu, and I'm going to set their schedule to active on all 3 squads. And let's see what happens. Oh, but before we get to that, it looks like we have another artifact here. Ubul Fikadlotal the Carpenter has created Sebshos Nukam, a sand pear wood bucket. She claims it as a family heirloom. Another wooden artifact, let's take a look. Its name translates to the Mire of Consideration. Okay, and once again it is not worth very much at all. Unfortunate. This is a sand pear wood bucket. All craft dwarfship is of the highest quality. It is decorated with sand pear wood, and the handle is made from sand pear wood as well. And to finish it off, this object menaces with spikes of sand pear wood. Huh, well, sand pear wood. Interesting. An artifact bucket made of sand pear wood. I don't really have much else to say about it, I suppose. Maybe we should put it on display somewhere. That might be a good idea. We'll see what happens. Anyways, back up over here to our barracks, and I'm waiting to see if anybody comes over and starts training. Ah, there we are. Very cool. Now, unfortunately, we don't have any very good gear for them to use, but we have made a bunch of copper leggings, helms, and breastplates now. And then our silver weapons, of course. So that's better than nothing, I suppose. We'll just have to be sure to keep an eye on these guys and make sure the squads are switching out monthly. But it's looking pretty good right now, so my hopes are high. Oh, would you look at that? It looks like the wagons from Igathmafall have arrived once more. And a whole bunch of them, too. Well, that's good, but I'm not sure we have that much to trade, really. Remember that last year we kinda screwed up and asked for a ton of leather? We're going to have to make sure not to do that again.
Oh, a change in leadership I see. That's very unexpected. But no matter. My name is Ilrao, and I'm your liaison from the mountain homes. Now then, let's discuss your situation. Once again, there is much to share. It looks like we have some more information added to the world screen. We'll take a look afterwards. Now then, what requests do you have of our merchants? More leather, perhaps? Well, because I think they already brought a ton of leather with them this year, I'm not going to ask for any more. But we will ask for a bunch of cloth, as well as silk. Oh, and metal bars, definitely. We'll take some steel, and also gold. And let's see, what else? Well, we're going to want a ton of food. Cheese will be good. Flour, sugar, a bunch of meat, fish, and a bunch of assorted plants. Because why the heck not? And that'll just about do it, I think. Well, if that'll be all, then we've finalized the import agreement. Feel free to go over the documents. Looks good. And now let's discuss what we are willing to offer for your craft dwarfship. Alright, it's looking like they want anvils and refined coal for next year. See what we could do. Not too concerned about making those, though. Well, if that's all, then farewell, Atir. Congratulations on your new position, and I look forward to our meeting next year. Be safe, and always remember that our fortunes rise and fall together. Indeed they do. Alright, and now I suppose we'll do some trading. Alright, well, I figured this year we could start trading some of our prepared food because we do have a ton of it, and wow, would you look at that? It is worth a ton. Like a real lot. Well, that's fantastic.
Alright, now let's see, we're gonna go through this pretty quick. We'll take some metal bars, some assorted gems, some animal cages, some drinks and barrels, and we'll take some quality weapons as well. Like I see they have a steel spear here. Oh, and some clothing. That's always nice. Oh, and they have shields too. We'll take a few. And they also brought some dwarven sugar and flour as well. That'll be useful for cooking. Oh, and here's the leather we asked for. I guess we'll take it all. Might as well. We can make some decent clothing out of it. We'll also clean out the rest of their food. I hate to even think about it, but if we're ever stuck inside our fortress for an extended amount of time, we're going to need a surplus of food. Because we don't have any farms or anything. Oh, and it looks like once again they brought a bunch of books and scrolls, that sort of stuff. And so we'll take as many as we can. And I think that'll about do it. And now let's see if we have enough to trade. I am a little concerned. And there we go, that might do it, let's see.
Well, perhaps you'd consider this a superior proposal. What do you say?
It looks like they're asking for more of our food. I suppose we can consider it. Well, you know, it looks like it's going to be all of our food, pretty much. I mean, we'll have some left over. Yeah, that should be fine. We're getting a ton of food in this trade, so... yeah, what the hell. I'll tell you what, I'll even throw in an extra barrel of food.
Ah, wonderful. All this prepared food. We'll make sure to bring more goods next year. Your kindness truly knows no bounds here in Stargustgash.
And this time they're ecstatic with the trading, which is fantastic. So hopefully they'll bring a ton more next year. That was a fantastic trade. Good job, dwarves, all of you. Well now, things in the fortress seem to be going pretty darn well, I'd say. We just did a great trade, artifacts are coming out left and right. We do still have a couple of upset dwarves about, but I think we're beginning to manage it. I think. Our chief medical dwarf is no longer upset. Of course, she did have 2 babies recently, maybe that improved her mood a bit. That could be it. So I don't know, maybe we're improving a little bit. I sure hope so. Oh, you know, I just realized it's the 4th of Sandstone, and it does look like we now have different dwarves up here in the barracks training. Very cool. It appears our schedule is working, which is great to see. I wasn't sure. But yeah, I think we're good. Fantastic. Oh, hey now. That's a surprise. The Helix of Wave Raisers, a half-day's travel to the west, looks to our thriving economy for its future prosperity. So it looks like a small dwarven helix has popped up somewhere nearby, and it's going to be relying on us for help, I think. Very cool, we'll have to keep an eye on that. Oh, and you know what, that reminds me too. We never ended up checking out the news that the Outpost Liaison brought with them. Well, first of all, let's check out Wave Raisers, which is in fact right over here, with a population of about 60 dwarves. Pretty cool. Although, right down to their southwest, there's the Goblin Fortress of Darkmine, with a population of about 2,000 goblins. Ugh, that's no good. Well, if these dwarves keep their heads down and don't cause too much trouble, then they might be able to stay there safely, but things don't look great for them, I don't think. Anyways, back to news, let's have a look. Doesn't look like there's much of anything. Well, that's good. No news is good news as far as we're concerned. Now let's see, back over here to our little contraption we're working on. It is just about done. There's a few other little touches we're going to have to add, but it's almost there. And you know, just while we happen to be here still, right here we could see Beans, who is in a terribly depressed state. And I don't know why. I'm really starting to think some dwarves are just beyond help. And it's a damn shame. I don't want this guy to lose it, but we're doing everything we can to keep him happy. And he just does not seem to be taking to it. I don't know. It's frustrating. Oh no. This is not good. A vile force of darkness has arrived. It looks like we've finally been found by the torment of witches. That is terrible news. I didn't think they'd spot us with our population being so low, but here they are. Alright, well, let's see what we're working with here. Well, interestingly enough, there are only 3 invaders right now, and one of them is a poet, which is just beyond bizarre. Well, I'm gonna unpause the game and see what they do. There is a good chance that they run straight away. Let's see. Yep, they're gone. Must have just been a traveling group of scouts or something. I don't like that. Just have to keep on our toes, dwarves. Remember that those goblins are out there, and in great numbers. Oh, and that's strange. Another helix has popped up nearby, Theater Held, which is a day's travel to the west. Well, that's very interesting and flattering, but I'm not sure we could do much to protect you, dwarves. Yeah, here it is right out here, right on the other side of the Plains of Shaming, in the Jungle of Festivals. It has a population of about 50, which is more dwarves than we have here at our fortress, so I don't know why they'd have anything to do with us. Well, so be it. As I said, we're not going to be able to do much for you dwarves, so good luck. Alright, things in the fortress here are speeding right along, and there's still a couple things I'd really like to do before the episode ends. Like our waterworks over here, we have to get that started. So let's get right to it. I think it is all set now. And now the idea is that we'll go down, pull a lever that'll open this floodgate right here, and allow the water from the brook to go down towards our meeting hall. the water will flow through here and down this grate up here and fall down to our meeting hall, just kind of splashing down on the surface right here, creating a nice mist, and then going down through these grates, which will guide the water around to this pump right here. And the pump will guide the water upwards right here, where it will fall back down to the meeting hall, just in a constant loop. Now the plan is to only have this floodgate open for about 1 second, because a lot of water does come out of there, but we'll see what happens. I'm a little frightened, but it should be fine. Let's see. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is pull this lever right here. There we go. And here comes the water very quickly. Wow, filling up underneath the meeting hall. And I've already got somebody on the way to pull this lever again. Quickly now, dwarves. There we go. Oh, and so this water should be stopping any second now. Please? Yeah, okay, looks like the water has stopped. Fantastic. And, yeah. Looks like we have ourselves a little bit of a mist generator now. Although that being said, it looks like our lever room down here is completely flooded now. Which is horrible news, because that means we can't use our gates. Ugh, we're gonna have to figure out a way to get the water out of there. What a pain, huh? Well, no matter. And now at this point, all we have to do is wait for all this water to dry up. It'll still be a bit muddy, but the dwarves can get that cleaned up no problem. Very cool, so, I guess I'm fairly pleased, actually. I mean, our levers are now useless, but, no matter. That should be fine. And the only thing left to do at this point is to get rid of all these temporary waterway walls, which will cause some water to come flowing out into our main area here. But that shouldn't be a problem. I'm just hoping nobody gets washed down into our well. That could be an issue. But it looks like we're not having any problems. Well, good. And as for our flooded lever room here, that's as easy as building a screw pump and just pumping the water out of there. And there we go. The water is flowing out into the meeting hall, but not a ton of it. And down below, our lever room looks like it's still full, but it's actually very shallow. So yeah, that's good to go. Problem solved. Very good job, dwarves. Well, I certainly hope you dwarves appreciate your new misting device. I think it's gonna work out pretty darn well. After the initial hiccups anyways. Yeah, it's looking good. Now then, we're still swiftly approaching the end of the episode, and there are a couple things I still have to get to. Now, while we were setting up our mist generator, a couple more dwarven hillocks popped up nearby. 2 of them. Over here to the west we have viper seals, with a population of about 50 dwarves, and it is right next to Theater Held, a hillock that popped up earlier. And then to the north of that, quite a ways really, deep in goblin territory, is the Hillocks of Murder Wound. Quite a grisly name right there. Again with a population of about 50 dwarves. I don't know what the hell they're thinking making a Hillocks out here, but best of luck to them. As I said earlier, we're not going to be able to do much for you guys. And you know, while we're having a look at the map here, it looks like Standard Worlds, the former Dwarven capital, now has a population of around 3,000 goblins, which is utterly terrifying. And it is right to our northwest. I guess we're really going to have to keep our heads down. That is one beehive we don't want to go stirring up. Not at all. And another thing that had happened while we were getting those waterworks all set was that we had another artifact pop up. And here it is. Rotic Cathil, the Nettles of Wetting, a sand pear wood animal trap. Well, let's have a look. It's worth 4,800, not very much at all. This is a sand pear wood animal trap. All craftsmanship is of the highest quality. It is decorated with cave spider silk. This object menaces with spikes of sand pear wood and jet. So yeah, not much to talk about here really. A wooden animal trap with some spikes of stone and yet more wood, with a little bit of silk on there just to gussy it up. Well, I guess it's something, right? We can throw it in the pile of other wooden artifacts that we currently have, which I figured we should start displaying down in our meeting hall, just on pedestals. I heard that when dwarves pass by displayed artifacts like this, it can help to boost their mood. Not sure if that's the case, but I guess we'll find out soon enough. Alright, and I think that's going to about do it for this episode. We really are getting down there. Now then, let's see, what have we accomplished? Well, we did manage to get a new temple up. Just one. Kind of a shame, but I suppose we got a bit sidetracked on our waterworks. We do also have our library over here, which now has quite a few books, and dwarves do regularly go in here to read, which I'm hoping is boosting their mood a bit. I have to think it is. And over here we have our barracks, with all of our scheduled dwarves going in and training regularly, which is good to see. Oh, and just as a side note, we do have a prison up here as well, stocked with restraints and cages, just in case. Oh, and an office down here for Iron Tongue, our manager. Over here we have our mist generator, of course, which ended up being the main focus of this episode, and is now providing a cooling mist to the dwarves down in our meeting hall, which also has a bunch of artifacts on display. Oh, and while we're here, I want you to take a look over here at all this food and drinks. We have a lot, and they're all very high quality. Just figured I'd point that out. The dwarves do have access to very high quality food at this point. With that in mind, it's very hard to explain why some of these dwarves are still so very upset. And Rith over here, our former expedition leader, is the most miserable dwarf in the entire fortress currently. He's currently described as being utterly harrowed by the nightmare that is his tragic life, which doesn't really make any sense to me. I don't know, I'm not too sure what to do. Should I just exile him from the place? I don't really want to, but if he stays here much longer, he's gonna end up going insane. I'm not too sure. Not to mention his boyfriend, Waxy over here, who's also very upset. I have been trying different things in the background throughout this entire episode, and nothing seems to be working. And then down here in the mines we have Beans, who's currently at work making some more armor. These three dwarves are by far the most upset dwarves in the entire fortress. And you know, now that I think of it, I don't think there are any more angry dwarves in the fortress besides these three. So I have to think that our improvements are helping to some degree. It really seems that way. It's just that these three guys do not seem to want to be happy at all. So if you guys out there have any suggestions as to what I could do about this, then I'd really love to hear it. And if I can't figure something out, they're either going to go insane, or I'm going to have to exile them, which is not something I want to have happen. Well, you bearded bastards, I do hope you enjoyed watching this episode. As always, it was a pleasure having you, and I certainly hope you'll join me next time, here in Stargoose, Honeystoker. And until then, you bearded bastards,